A hand reaches for a glowing smartphone while the room is still dark. The morning light waits outside the window as the screen begins its pull. Minutes dissolve into the bright display of endless feeds. The body remains still under the blankets, but the mind is already racing through a digital world. Getting out of bed feels heavier when the brain is already tired from processing information. Feet touch the cold floor while the phone stays gripped tight. Coffee is poured while the gaze remains fixed on the palm of the hand. The aroma of the beans is ignored for a notification light. Small stacks of mail gather on the counter, unread and untouched. The habit of delaying minor tasks creates a physical weight in the living space. Sitting down at the desk involves pushing aside a few loose papers. This tiny movement is the first compromise of many in a working day. A computer screen opens to 20 different tabs at once. The eyes jump from one to another, never settling on a single point of focus. The shoulders slowly creep toward the ears as the tension of multitasking rises. The body forgets how to sit properly while the mind wanders. A glass of water sits just out of reach, half empty and forgotten. The basic needs of the body are secondary to the digital demands. Each notification sound triggers a small physical twitch in the hand. The invisible strings of the phone control the movement of the day. Midday arrives and the to-do list remains mostly untouched. The friction of starting the hardest task feels like an immovable wall in the room. A quick snack is eaten while standing over the sink. This habit of rushing through nourishment prevents the mind from ever finding a rest. Dust gathers on the spines of books that were meant to be read. These silent intentions become reminders of a focus that is missing. Every time a challenge arises, the hand instinctively seeks the phone for a brief escape. It is a quiet withdrawal from the present. Words are spoken without looking up from the screen during a conversation. The connection to the person nearby is thinning with every second. The habit of saying yes to every request leaves the calendar crowded. There is no space left for the things that truly matter. A chair is left pulled out, and a drawer remains slightly open. These small incompletions mirror a mind that is constantly moving but never finishing. Looking in the mirror, the eyes see the fatigue, but the mind ignores the cause. The cycle of the day continues without any adjustment. The evening light turns orange, casting long shadows across the floor. The day has passed in a series of automatic reactions and tiny distractions. A pile of laundry sits on the corner of the bed, waiting to be moved. It is another small weight added to the evening routine. Sitting down for dinner, the phone is placed face down on the table. Even hidden, its presence is felt like a third guest at the meal. The sound of the clock ticking becomes noticeable in the silence. For a moment, the lack of input feels uncomfortable rather than peaceful tonight. Thoughts about tomorrow's tasks begin to surface before today is even finished. The habit of living in the future steals the current moment. A small notification light blinks in the dark living room. It is a tiny beacon that demands attention even when the body needs rest. The internal voice starts to list everything that wasn't done today. This habit of self-criticism is the heaviest, invisible burden a person carries. Walking to the sink to wash a single dish feels like a chore. The resistance to small efforts grows when the mind is cluttered. The hands move slowly through the task, finally finding a rhythm. For the first time all day, there is only one simple objective. Realization begins to dawn that the environment is a reflection of internal habits. A clear surface starts with a single conscious choice tonight. The phone is placed in a drawer, out of sight and out of mind. The silence that follows is thick and heavy at first. Taking a deep breath, The lungs expand fully for the first time since the morning. The physical sensation of air is grounded and real. Looking at a blank notebook, the hand picks up a pen. This simple tool represents the power to design a different kind of day. One word is written down, then another, forming a plan. The intention replaces the habit of reaction as the evening settles. The shoes are placed neatly by the door for the morning. Preparing the environment in advance reduces the friction of the coming start. A single glass of water is filled and placed on the nightstand. It is a small gift from the present self to the future self. The bed is turned down and the pillows are straightened. Order in the physical world begins to create order in the mental world. Switching off the main light, the room falls into a soft, natural darkness. The absence of artificial glare allows the eyes to relax. Sitting in the dark, the mind begins to quiet down. The habit of constant stimulation is finally broken for a few precious hours. Sleep comes easier when the phone is not the last thing the eyes see. The brain enters a state of recovery without digital interference. The next morning begins without the reach for the screen. The hand stays still while the mind slowly wakes to the real world. Sunlight fills the room and the air feels fresh. The habit of observation replaces the habit of distraction as the new day starts. Walking through the house, the small piles are gone. Each surface is a clear space that allows for new thoughts and focused actions. Breakfast is eaten at the table without any digital noise. Every bite is tasted, and the morning is experienced with full presence. The desk is ready before the work begins. A single notebook and a single task are the only things that occupy the space. Concentration feels like a deep river instead of a shallow puddle. The mind stays on one path for a long stretch of time. Challenges are met with curiosity instead of an immediate escape. The habit of staying with the friction creates a new kind of strength. A timer on the desk marks the end of a focused session. There is a sense of completion that was missing for many months. Stepping outside, the world seems more vivid and detailed. The habit of looking down has been replaced by the habit of looking around. Conversations with others are now full of eye contact and listening. The invisible wall of the smartphone has finally been taken down completely. Fatigue at the end of the day feels satisfying rather than draining. It is the result of focused effort instead of scattered distraction. The small, invisible habits that once controlled the life have been replaced by intentional ones. Growth is happening in the quiet moments today. A single notification appears on the phone in the drawer, but it remains unheard. The choice to be unavailable is a choice for freedom. Looking at the schedule for next week, there is plenty of white space. The habit of saying no has protected the mental energy. The posture is upright and the movements are steady. The physical body has responded to the change in the internal mental environment. A book is opened and the first chapter is finished without stopping. The ability to stay with a single thought has finally returned. The water glass is refilled and the habit of self-care is now automatic. These tiny acts of kindness towards oneself build a foundation. Looking back at the old patterns, they seem like a distant dream. The friction that once felt like a wall is now a doorway. The environment remains simple and clean, even after a long day of use. The habit of tidying as one goes has become invisible. Clarity of mind allows for deeper reflection on what is truly important. The noise has faded, leaving only the essential sounds of life. The quiet control of the life is now in the hands of the person, not the devices or the distractions of the world. A final deep breath is taken as the stars appear in the sky. The journey of growth continues in every small, invisible choice made.